assist us in our project. So that is, I think, that's our biggest challenge. Thank you.
So I run basically the facilities management division of the company. The biggest win this quarter, day before yesterday, we secured a second construction contract, so a full turnkey solution on that. So yeah, I mean the biggest challenge is still, I think, for me, trying to streamline the businesses, finding the right processes and systems to make sure that they're all running efficiently.
Morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Kowar. I'm from a company called Space Consulting, doing accounting, tax, and advisory. Within this quarter, I would say at the beginning of the year, we had set a target to be more known in the fuel production industry. And I believe I've seen a lot of companies approaching us in that industry to do work for them. And the challenge, I would say, it's now the trade part in order for us to meet the demand of getting those clients satisfied. And then feedback, I would say, I'm happy to be here to learn and share with everyone. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jodi. I'm also from Welby. Yeah, anyone can say we do. Our mission is just to help them take control of their finances. So we don't just give people finances. And biggest win this quarter, our company actually exceeded its quarterly revenue target. And it's mostly because I wasn't there most of this quarter. So I thought he was going to say his biggest win is working without me. And the biggest challenge, I think the biggest challenge, we for the first time had clients for 11 years past on. And left everything or most of the estate in our hands. So it was my first time dealing with that. I was buzzing Peter a lot on the phone to get something. And thank you for that. So the biggest challenge, having to handle a client. And also the other challenge is, realizing that the team can actually do better without me in the office. And feedback, looking forward for the next 2 days.
Thanks. I'm Alma from our Forex company. We've been doing personal and life protection for 33 years. And for me, the win is staff is coming together. Under this guidance, we've managed to get people to know what they have to do and start doing it and try and stop the toys out of the clock thing, which is quite hectic. And challenges, yes, staff left, but we were very grateful for the staff that left. DCMA things did that, said goodbye. So yes, so we're very happy that having Peter on board has helped guide us and take us instead of jumping around with chickens without heads. He's put our heads to the ground and said, okay, this is the way. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to be part of this nice conversation. So hi everybody, my name is Marinette Levinger, and I would say, from Plant Paradise Garden Centre in Landscape, sorry. We're based in Victoria, Riverside Drive, and it was my big vision of me to create a show garden and a show house. Do that combination when I do clients' gardens, actually show them what you can do, combining your house and your patio area into your garden as well. So that vision actually came true, and we finished revamping the biggest project I've ever done in my life. So we're done, and it was very successful, and I'm super proud of what we've achieved. And we're busy going into magazines all over, and my vision for next year is to go on TV as much as possible with that as well. And yeah, just super, super proud. So my biggest challenge, I think, is to bring my bank balance back to where it was after the revamp. So yeah, it was an absolute great year, and best husband in the world. Been married now for a year, so
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jodi. I'm the owner of Farm Play and Walk Unlimited Organics. So we supply plants and compost to independent garden centers. And I will tell you later on why I say that. And also to the landscape industry and also directly to the public. And our biggest challenge was actually one of my staff key members who did my marketing and handled all my exports resigned. And she moved on to another company where they made a huge offer, which I couldn't be a counter offer on. And the win that came out of that was the person I employed after she left is actually much better qualified and does much better job at marketing, and I pay less. So it was a huge win for me. And then the exports, we just moved over to one of the other ladies in the office, and she's also doing an excellent job of that. So actually, that was a good win. The reason I'm saying independent garden centers is everybody knows that the chain stores, and we're busy creating a niche market for ourselves by going into independent stores only. We're protecting the smaller guys against the retailer. I believe that compost and poisons and fertilizers should not be sold in shops where they sell our food. And that specialized garden centers where they've actually got qualified horticulturalists who can advise the public on how to use those poisons, how to use our products. That's the way to go. And I firmly believe that by going into the garden centers and servicing retail, that you're only diluting your own business by doing smaller deliveries to more customers instead of doing large deliveries to certain people. So by getting your product in everywhere, you're actually creating a lot of extra work for yourself by doing all those small deliveries, handling all those accounts. And we all know what the pick and pays and macros and builders warehouses are like. They want to dictate the price, and eventually you do all the work, they make money, and you make nothing. So we've actually made a call and said we're going to stay out of them. Unfortunately, we do supply Leroy Merlin. We're meeting with them tomorrow, and we might be withdrawing from their stores. In order to be able to claim that we're not in chain stores, but we're only supplying independent retailers.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so I see some new faces here. So for those that don't know me, I'm Peter DeLonger. I'm one of the partners and coaches at Action Coach. And yeah, I have great customers and I really enjoy my customers, but I work with business owners, CEOs, directors, management and salespeople to just get direction, get focused, grow your business, create stability, and overall create a quality of life for all. This year's been a year of a lot of firsts for me. I overcame one of my biggest fears. I also own a company called Fine Automation, and my wife owns a dog parlor, and yeah, I keep bees as a hobby, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But that's a little bit about me. But fear became a hobby.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Just from my side, again, welcome to everybody. What has my biggest challenge been? It's trying to find a place where I can build the house I want to build in Cape Town. So finally, I have a piece of land, and we're going to start building hopefully in the new year. Yeah, and the biggest challenge has been to go forward and grow the business, to find enough people to talk to about their businesses, and my challenge. And I think the other nice thing is my wife is retiring. I think that's going to interfere a little bit with my business, but we'll see how that works out. Right, so yes.
So, Nompendulu, why don't you stand up, tell us a little bit about yourself, and Mahalia. Oh, yes, there she is. She's because she's busy texting me, you see. That's the problem.
You're busy already. Yeah. Okay. My name is Mahalia Jackson. I'm the CEO of Added Touch Catering and Events and Dit and Dining. Dit and Dining is a very small and intimate private venue. Added Touch has been in existence for the past 15 years. We do corporates, corporate catering, private events, and film and production catering. This year we have expanded into ready prepared delivery meals. We spoke about challenges a month ago. My biggest challenge was my staff, the most reliable. Yes, overcame that challenge, but now I'm challenged with the outsourced staff, like your service staff, waiting to get the best. They command a price, but they don't give you the expertise that you require. So I've decided to go into training myself. Okay, that's it.
Well done, well done. So, yeah, so as we start today, we're going to talk about point of power. And you all know this, but I've changed it up a bit to, our theme is Big Five. So when we look at Africa, when we look at our animals, we're out here in the beautiful farmlands, and we just look around us and we say, where do we get inspiration from? So today we want to ensure that we don't go into that blame, excuse, and denial. And then we've got a great picture of see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. And none of us want to be those people. And when we look at above the point of power, ownership, accountability, and being responsible, we look at the Springbok and we think, what does the Springbok represent to us in South Africa? If we look at the Springbok rugby, what does it represent? It represents ownership. It represents a winning team. It represents a culture of responsibility. If you think when the Springboks are playing the World Cup, South Africa is there. So when you look at this, you look at your business, say, am I the Springbok? Do I have the Springbok mentality? Or do I have, I was actually thinking today, we should have had an ostrich with his head in the sand. It would probably have been better, But it depicts the same thing. And we always want to be above that. So, when we have a look, it's always about, you want to take us through this one? Yeah.
I think the language we use is very important. And we have a choice. And the choice is about me and not talking about we and them. So I have to do things. I am the person that's responsible. And if I'm taking my responsibility, I think it's important that I live that I am above the line or above the point of power. If you are below the point of power, it's all about you. You're going to talk about the other person, what they've done, and the other person in the team. And it's the difference between a grown-up and a child sort of attitude. And I think it's important to understand that raising your business, growing your business, you cannot do that if you are below the line. You can only grow your business, you can grow your profitability if you stay above the line. It's all about you and what you're going to do. So, participation today, please, is 100%. I know you're going to give 100%, but I'm sure you will get back more than 100% from everybody around the room. We've got some nice time working with and networking with our clients or with the people around the table. Tonight, we're going to spend some time just, again, celebrating some of the wins with this team. And it's great to have you here. And I think it's great that you came and you said, okay, we're going to spend the day here. And I think that's really important for next year's energy and planning, and that we do that now. Right, and the I know attitude, we want you to put that away from now. And I think really important is to change that language to isn't that interesting.
Yeah, we selected the owl specifically for, the owl is all knowing and all seeing. So we don't want to be there. And staying with our theme, I think that's important.
Then we want to have some fun. I know Peter likes dogs. That's why this is his slide. But having fun is for him, playing with animals and little bees and those type of things. All right. But we want to have fun, guys, and you can enjoy. Invite you to have fun with us today. And then, yeah, nothing inside us scares enough. We want to be open and frank about our business, and we need to face the facts today. Take some time out and say, this is not happening because of me and what my team is doing. I need to change.
Correct. And yeah, how often have we seen the niceness? But once again, it's also about training, teaching you to fish. If you would think about it, a lot of you right now have been going through the phases of training your staff, educating your staff. And it's the same with you as a business owner, director. What are you doing to constantly
So having said that and having looked at some of the basic coaching principles, I'd like to introduce Harry. Harry Welby Cook, you guys heard what he said today about running a successful business. Harry has been involved with action coaches as long as I can remember. And it is really great, Harry, that we have you here. Thank you for making the time. And specifically getting up early and spending the day with us. Really great that you've seen your way over. So
thank you very much. So yeah, good to be here. Set up for you. Unfortunately, there's always unintended consequences to life, right? So you plan something and then it kind of bites you. So our theme for next year as a business is live and local, because I think that's truly one of the advantages of what we do and have. We are live and local. Bert is live, Peter's live, we're local here today in this beautiful setting. And yes, what a privilege to wake up at 3:30 in the morning and catch the first flight out and be here in this beautiful space. But the problem with being live and local is we're now doing things like streaming on YouTube, and we went live on Facebook at our conference. That means I have to kind of stand still a lot more because there's cameras and things on, which is a pain in the gut. I like to walk around. And I have to really watch my language a lot more. And that's going to be interesting throughout, not just today, but the whole of the year ahead. But in February this year, some of you were in the room where we did a session called Enough BS. Remember that one? So today we're going to take it one notch up a little bit further, and we're going to call it, we're going to call it Stop the BS. So enough with the BS, and we'll do a quick reflection to remind ourselves of what that was. But can we remember what the BS stands for? Does it stand for balance sheet? Or British Standard, or anything like that? No, it stands for bull. You know? Because it's the stuff we tell ourselves that we eventually start to believe. And it's that kind of stuff that holds us back. So it is very much, getting rid of that. So let's think about the enough BS that we spoke about in February. One of the excuses we use all the time is I haven't got enough time. Anybody ever use that excuse? Oh, I haven't got enough time. And we quickly called BS on that because why? How many hours in everybody's day? 24 hours. The poorest people in the world and the richest people in the world all have 24 hours. There cannot be time, can it? Because the other people with the same amount of time would do different things. There's not time. It's a BS on time. Yeah, but it's team. And I'm glad some people here were getting rid of bad team and very excited to get rid of them and pay new ones less. You know? Because there's 9 million unemployed people in South Africa. You cannot tell me you can't find good people. And this one lady, shame, she stepped in it. She said, no, but half my team's really good, but if I can just get rid of half the team and put world-class players in, then my life would be better. It's fantastic. So how many is that half? How many people do you need? I said, well, if I can get rid of 10 and get 10 world-class players, that'll be really good for my business. I said, fantastic. How long you had your business? 16 years. I said, how many people have you interviewed in 16 years? She said, she was probably 40. I said, okay. So in interviewing 40 people, you ended up with those 10 duds. You might have to interview a little bit more than 40, but would you have to interview 9 million people to find 10 superstars? Not even close. So it's not our team either. Oh, but Harry, it's money. Economy's tight, don't have enough money, okay? And then we went and reflected on it and thought, damn it, we all know people that have more money than us, don't we? And unfortunately, many of those that have more money than us are dumber than us, which is quite frustrating. And some of them have less education and have, less skills and don't have a coach and haven't gone to the courses and read the books and all the rest of it. So it cannot be a money issue because there's people dumber than us with more money than us. So we called BS and all of that. And we also understood that life is a roller coaster. It was wonderful to hear the challenges and the wins. And my win and my challenge was sometimes the same thing. I had to ride the roller coaster to get the win. Life is not just sit back and relax and cruise and it'll be easy. Because that doesn't exist in any book, in any autobiography, in any story, even the Amazon one we'll hear later on today, that says this was easy and we just scored and succeeded. No, it's a roller coaster. And remember, if I showed you this, those of you that haven't seen it, the sad thing is these two people are on the same roller coaster. The weather's the same, they paid the same for the ticket, the straps are the same, everything is the same, yet one is really, really enjoying herself and the other not so much. So first thing you have to understand is that you will be on a roller coaster. Life is a roller coaster. Your business is just part of life. But then we also went and reflected and thought about a little bit about this thing called COVID and the aftermath of that. And we're still trying to pay back loans. Well, when they did this deep scan of humanity, we've forgotten about and gone straight back to normal. So wasn't important to have a GTS fund. For those of you that don't know what a GTS fund is, it's a go-to-shit fund. Did COVID teach us that we need a GTS fund? Because life can happen and all of a sudden there's no income, what now? So who can proudly say they've sufficiently put a GTS fund together so they can weather another COVID? Anybody? 1, 2, 3.5 people. I love it when people answer like this, like, yeah, sort of, kind of, maybe. If you have to do this, the answer is probably no. If you have to say, well, yes, but the answer is no. And I think we'll do a little bit of that, don't worry just now, because when people think I'm the fun guy and the motivational guy, no, I'm the depressing guy. We're going to have the depression session just now, where you're going to face a bit of no. Not maybe, because there's no, but what we're going to do later on is not 50 shades of grey, black or white. It's either in place or it's not. And I think part of the benefit of being here today is we face some of those brutal truths. Because our business is simply this. The purpose of your business is to profitably create raving fans. Profitably. A very important word. We're going to focus on that a lot. Profitably create raving fans. People that love doing business with you so that they keep doing business with you and hopefully bring other people your way. To create surplus, excess, to go and invest in wealth creation. That's as simple as your business is. We complicate it with hundreds of millions of things that we have to do and to-do lists and KPIs and every acronym you can think of. But that's the purpose of your business. It is a vehicle that you've chosen or been forced upon sometimes, that must serve you and your future. Are you running your business as a vehicle that serves you? Or are you running your business as a very stressful, cocky place to be because it's, causing you lots of anxiety, lots of stress, lots of sleepless nights, etc., etc. Good. So we'll have a recipe of how we change that. Because, and it's interesting that we're sitting in what was probably an old milking shed today. Your business can be one of only two things. And you have to choose. And if you haven't chosen before today, you're going to choose. Is it a milking machine? And you have the reality with you of they're the two people that help you turn it into a milking machine. Can you generate a lot of surplus that you use the surplus and go put it into wealth creation? Shares, property, Bitcoin, whatever you want, I don't care. You take the profits here and you go put it somewhere else. And Jodi from Citadel will talk about wealth plan and all the rest of it after me, and that's cool. So then you milk it for every bit you can. Or you decide, no, I've got other options. I want to build an asset. So before we talk about the asset, we've got this wonderful thing in Action Coach called the 5 ways. Heard of the 5 ways? Some of you going, what the hell are 5 ways? Good. No problem, because they're on the screen. They're all the ones that are before an equal sign, not after an equal sign. Leads, conversion rate, number of transactions, average value, and margins. Now, when you sign up for Action Coach, they show you this beautiful little thing. You say, okay, well, let's put some hypothetical numbers in there. And through working with a coach, you'll get a 10% increase in all of those. And if you get a 10% increase, you'll make all this extra money. Did Peter and Bert kind of promise that, or at least allude to that? 5 ways, 10%, they did. They did, wonderful. So if you did those numbers, a 10% increase in 5 areas, you get a 61% increase in profit. With not much effort. So how many of you made 61% more profit this year? Let's see a raise of hands. Okay, 2 people made 61% more profit. The rest of you, what? Just lazy this year? You sleep a bit late? Did you just get distracted, spend time on holiday? Why did you not make 61%? Because the formula is simple. And there's 400 strategies on how to do it. You don't need 400, you need a handful. But we got so busy with stuff, Harry. We got so busy and the economy and clients and competitors and the banks and financing and staff and okay, so that just got you distracted. All the BS that we focus on. So milk machine, so you make a 61%, or you build an asset. The asset will still make you money. You might going to invest more and take less out, and then hopefully one day you'll sell it. And how do you get that asset to work? You follow the 6 steps process, and that we teach you and that you coach through. Not only make the money, but have a business that's saleable and works without you. Notice, if we're not making cash, if we're not having a predictable cash flow, then systems and staff and stuff are not your issue. You think they are? They're not. Foundation first, to get rid of chaos. Then make some money, because you need money to put into systems. You need money to employ better staff. Why have you generally got shitty staff working for you? Because you can't afford good ones. You're cheap. You pay peanuts. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Sorry, Julius, I know we're not supposed to call people monkeys. But that's the reality of your most privately owned businesses. The big bucks are earned in the corporate businesses. So you get the dregs because you can't afford the same talent. Well, we need to make the money first. But I thought let's do a little bit of a reality check because it's the end of the year. Sure, looking at your faces, you're looking like I feel. A little bit tired, a little bit drained, maybe a little bit frustrated, depressed, irritated, gutful, all those good things. And then we constantly hear this mantra, South Africa, this most unequal society. And we had to dodge not that many potholes actually on the way, but a few potholes. And a government of national unity was like the saving grace after the sherbet we had before. Now some of them are working okay and some of them not. And South Africa is a depressing place to live. It's hard. I hear that all the time. It's so hard. Okay, let's do a reality check. So we've had all these South Africans leave, right? We all know we've got kids living overseas, we've got family members overseas. All these people have moved overseas. That's why we can't get good staff, because we're stuck with all the cock that didn't move. Okay? But let's put that into context. There is only 873,000, I think if I remember correctly, South Africans living overseas. There's 60 million living here, excluding all the Zimbabweans and Malawians that have joined. Only 873,000 people have left South Africa and are working and living overseas. That's less than the size of PE. And nobody even wants to go to PE anymore. That's the extent of the people that have left. But we think, oh, you know, everybody's left. Okay, let's look at the largest economies in the world, and you'll still notice South Africa. Now, yes, we'd want to be with some of these other big boys, but hello, we had a little bit of a backlog, and we are a developing market. So actually, in the bigger scheme of things, it's pretty impressive. And if you take up-to-date figures, Nigeria has had a bit of a bad run, so we're still back to being the biggest economy in Africa. Now, every article you read says Africa is the next growth phase. So the rest of the world are really struggling for growth. Keir Starmer in the UK put through all these increases, made everybody the Morin, because he said he's not going to increase taxes. He's put through the taxes so that they can maybe get 1.5% growth. That's the top of the upside. Well, our upside is unlimited. Now, notice Australia at 1.7 trillion, right? Ours at 400 odd billion, there's 1.7 trillion. Now look at the biggest stock exchanges in the world. Look at South Africa and Australia. Almost the same size, yet the economy is more than four times bigger. So we talk about, oh, but, you know, all these dual listings and all the capital leaving the country. Where, people, where? Not happening. Those fluxes happen in every market around the world. And this is a good one, because where would you ever have thought you'd see South Africa on the fastest growing economy list in the world? Yes, our growth has been pretty crap. And it needs to be much higher for the challenges we've got. But the world has had a bad run for the last few years. There was 58 democratic elections in democratic countries this year. Let's say democratic. 58. Thank goodness the last of them was the bloody Americans, and now old Orange Face can get back to whatever he does. Because that causes distraction. That causes massive problems in economies. But we're on the top echelons of growth. There are not many people ahead of us. And there's many first world countries that are behind us. Oh, but Harry, you know, South Africa's a cock place to live. Then we look at inflation figures. Our inflation is stable. Whether you like what the Reserve Bank does or doesn't, it's pretty stable. Why have the Republicans come in? Why have the Labour Party come in the UK? Because they've had runaway inflation and they cannot deliver on what they've promised, so they're out. We don't have those problems. In fact, if you look at countries with the biggest inflation, can you imagine living in those countries? Can you imagine what that would be like? That would be a disaster. We don't have those problems. Oh, but Harry, you know, your staff are really expensive. Now, yes, you must always get value from staff. I 100% agree with you. You know, there is a little bit of entitlement that sadly you can't fix with a crop anymore. You have to do it in a nice way. But look at wages in India. Fastest growing economy in the world, billion people, and still they pay people nothing. So if you look at our average wages, they're actually not that bad. And if you take average wages versus quality of life, yeah, then you can't even compare our country to others. But Harry, you know, they must just stop having so many babies. Now, I always wonder who these they people are, because that's how we talk. Them, they, you know, and they're like, no, actually, I don't. Who are these people? But if you look at our diminishing growth rate in actual stats, we're following the same trend all around the world. There is the population growth, but at a rate of what it was, it's actually coming down. Then we look at countries that are the most indebted, and we say, oh, you know, these politicians of ours keep, you know, borrowing money, and The economy is under such pressure. Well, yes, but look what other countries are indebted to, and some are not just third world problems. Some very wealthy countries owe a klein huisie for geld. The UK's tax to debt is the highest it's ever been. You're like, wow. So then look at the increase in GDP. That's what's happened the last few years. Look what's happened to the first world in the last 8 years. We are up about 4.6% over an 8-year period. Look here. These are the countries supposedly South Africans want to go live in. But then they fly back to do all their medical stuff and see the sunshine and have good wine and all the rest of it. The most stressed countries in the world, in every measured, we don't even feature in the most stressed countries around the world, the most mental health issues, the most suicides, anything like that. Yet if you talk to the average South African at a bar, you think, geez, they should be at their wrist the way they're carrying on. Oh, come on, man. Then you look at GDP debt. The UK, like I said, is the highest ever of their actual GDP debt figures. But let's look at petrol, because, oh, thank goodness petrol's come down a little bit. And then you have all of the good cynical South Africans. Oh, but look, it's now gone up just in time for plantate and holiday time, and that's why it's gone up. The government engineers that. Okay, so that's a bit small, so you can't see there. So there's the lowest taxes per gallon of fuel in the world. The lowest. You'll notice South Africa there, right? And the lowest taxes. But let's move to some of those first world countries where there's the highest taxes in the world. So you can move to those countries, pay more tax and fuel. You can pay 20% on VAT, which the UK have for years and years and years. You look at that increase cycle and how it went up. We pooped ourselves when it went up 1% once, from 14 to 15. Let's move to the UK, because at least they speak English and they're more or less the same laws and all the rest of it. Now, up until the budget speech the other day, that's what you pay as an employer for UIS. Now think about this. In South Africa, you pay 1% on your behalf and 1% the staff member pays. And then there's a cap. That's it. That's what you pay in the UK. The staff member pays 12%. And over a certain period, 2% with no cap ever. You pay 13.8%. And in fact, after the budget speech, that's now 15%, and they've lowered the threshold. So you take a staff member on board, you have to budget 17% as a minimum extra just for your aid. So now 1% is not looking so bad, right? That's my brother's house in London. This scaffolding here is a separate house. This scaffolding here is a separate house. Just this is their spot. It's 7 meters wide. Technically got 3 bedrooms. We joke and said the bottom one is Harry Potter's closet, because that's where Harry stayed when I was there in April. A beautiful little home. It's heritage listed, which everybody thinks is cool. No, even to paint the balustrades outside, you need certain special paints and permissions and all the rest. It's a bit of a nightmare, but that's it. Now, I don't know what they paid for it, but I did go do some research and figured out that's about £1.2 million for that area. That 7 meter wide home in London will cost you almost 28 million rand. 28 million rand to get a 6-bedroom house in De Zalze on the golf course. And the sun will actually shine. And the wine and food is pretty good and pretty cheap. Andrew Cousins, he's a UK coach with that coach, and that blonde lady, the older one sitting, is Dawn, his wife. So she's South African, but has lived in the UK for many years. They got married a few years ago, so he comes every year. And this year in April, he was telling the story about, we went to Glenelia wine farm in Stellenbosch, and he was telling all his UK friends about this special place. Not bad, but there's many others. He says, no, before you start. He said, I know you South Africans can go to hundreds of these places. But let me tell you something. That place you took me, there is nowhere in the UK, not one place, that you can go where you can experience it. Where there's rolling hills, mountains, wine farms, good food, art gallery, all in the same place. There's not one place in the UK you can go to. He says, you can go to a wine farm. This is grey and dreary, no rolling hills, no fancy restaurant, no nothing. He says, there's not one. I think, sure, not one. There's probably 300 within 100 k's of my house. There's not one. That's my brother that lives in America, became an American citizen, a couple of years ago. Black sheep of the family, that's why he's got a black t-shirt on. That's my mom a couple of years ago when it was her 70th, and these are friends of his that came out from America. Now, this one over here, Braxton, is a specialist that works with kids on the spectrum, and ADHD and problem kids and all the rest of it. He's a really intelligent, very well-to-do individual. And we were at Witstrand, and we hired a house from friends of ours, and there was whales with their calves, and there was dolphins. And when we were having dinner the one night, he said, who else is coming for supper? Nobody, it's just us, the family. He said, so who's going to eat all this food? Because we had a good South African braai. There was steak and chops and societies and braai broodjies and. And he turned around and he said to me, he said, Harry, you do know that nobody can live like this anywhere in the world. What are you talking about? He says, even wealthy people in the States, well, if they're lucky, have 2 sets of meat on a table. When they barbecue, we'll do patties and maybe we'll do sausages. If we're really going big, then we'll have steak and we might do chops, or steak and kebabs. He says, you will never see this anywhere, no matter how wealthy you are in America. He says, you cannot even be the 1% of the wealthiest to even get close to hiring a place that you can be on the beach, on the dunes. He says, those are for the 0.1% of wealth that is not available, no matter how much money you've got, to even think of hiring it for Airbnb. He says, you guys don't even notice the whales and the dolphins outside on the sea anymore. He says, there are very few places in the world where you can go see one of them, let alone both of them playing, and they're literally here. And I saw that last week at our conference. We went to Caribou at the waterfront. It's a nice African-inspired restaurant fitted with our live and local theme. And they brought in this troupe of African dancers who were dancing and doing music and singing. And you could see us spoiled South Africans versus the tourists. The tourists are up, they're taking photos, they're clapping, they're dancing. We're like, oh, boring, can I eat my steak? Because we are spoiled individuals. So we need to stop this crap of listening to the media and our friends and our own minds, because we lie. And the problem with South Africa is we're constantly thinking, why shouldn't I just leave? Or send my kids over, or, my friends that went are so lucky. It's the wrong question. We should be asking, why not stay? Why not build the future that we need? Because here's the problem with any part of your life. If you do not see a future, you won't build it. And if you see a cloudy future and one that you're not so sure about, and you're sort of committed to and you're sort of not, you won't build it. And that's what happens a lot in business. We kind of see it, but we don't see it so clearly, and therefore, Neil said what I wanted to say whilst we're on YouTube. We stuff around. So that needs to stop. We really need to take time out today and say, okay, no, we are here. Nobody is going to die whilst we're here. And sadly, even if they do, we can't do anything about it. But I don't wish that upon anybody. Nobody's going to die. We need to spend some time on ourselves, because we've got to this level as South Africans where hurtful is just something that we are, and we adopt, and we carry, and we talk about all the time. Instead of being grateful, instead of being focused, instead of being passionate, we're just hurtful. So it's actually become this nice South African sport called hurtful. And, in the Afrikaans are brilliant. We have words like, ek is mooi hurtful, en goed hurtful. I don't know how hurtful can ever be mooi or good. Hurtful is bad, people, bad. So today we need to get to that point where we say, no. Tired of stuck. You know, whatever's happened in the past is in the past. Today, hit the reset button. Hit the reset button. And my focus for today going forward is Gatwolf verby. That's now in the past. We're going to create this new future for today, 2025 and a little bit beyond. Because I want to see that excitement. I want to see that passion. I want to see that place that I'm working towards. And every single one of you, some of you I know, and some of you I know of, because of the interactions with Peter and Bert. You have something much bigger planned inside than what you're currently delivering on. You've got goals, dreams, and aspirations that you've kind of put on hold and said things like, maybe I don't need it. You know, I've actually got so much to be grateful for. My car, I want a new one, but do I really need one? I'd like to one day fly business class, but it's lekker, especially when you're young size, to be cramped in the economy class. You know? It's okay. You know? It's okay. We tell ourselves this stuff to give up on our goals and dreams because we don't build the business. And I'll show you just now why we don't build the business. So who do you think is your biggest competitor in getting to that next level? Jan thinks it's himself. You guys think it's yourself? Back of the room? Also yourself. Good. So you know what yourself does? Yourself does things like create some bad habits. And this little box has become the worst little bad habit on the planet. Scrolling through. And then we've got our social media companies that give us these beautiful metrics that say, oh, we had 8,000 views. And then you look at the metrics and it says, yes, but 99% of those were less than 3 seconds, because that's what it took to scroll past your advert. So we create these bad habits. At the same time, we find any power to be distracted by. Okay, let me just quickly do this. Get this sorted. I'm just quickly going to put out this fire. I'm just quickly going to do the work, and then I get to the big work. And then the end of the week comes, the end of the month comes, and maybe even the end of the year comes, and the big work hasn't been done because of the distractions. Or insecurities. We start out in our business and we're so confident, and then we allow every hang-up on the planet to find its way into our psyche. Yeah, but am I good enough? Am I fit enough? Am I strong enough? Do I deserve this? No, of course you don't. You don't work your gut off, do you? You sit around picking your nose all day and you're expecting millions. No, entrepreneurs work their gut off. Of course they deserve it. We have this thing called lack of discipline. And I'll show you now why we have lack of discipline. Who here thinks that they've got really good discipline? Okay, then you're in the right space. So most of you can relate to this. We have lack of discipline. The number one success secret to life is do what you say you're going to do. Whether you said that out loud or whether you said it in your head, if you just did everything you said you're going to do, your life would be the best life on the planet. But we lack the discipline. And then we have this thing called fear. And this has become so funny because as the world's got more hung up on this, it's become a really good skill. But I'm fearful. And my favorite, I fear success. Really? You fear success? That's just a cock of shit excuse to not put in the effort to be successful. There's nobody that fears success. Like somebody said to me the other day, oh, yeah, but I don't want to be a tall poppy syndrome person. I don't want to be that arrogant, successful person. I said, okay, do you know people that are more successful than you? Yes. Would you regard them as tall poppy people? As arrogant as, you know, they rub their success in your face? No. I said, how do they compare to people that are less successful? He says, they're actually nicer people. I said, but that's supposedly what your fear is. You don't want to be the arrogant poople that's successful. Meantime, it's normally the not successful people that are more arrogant and more poople in the process. So we have this story of fear, and a big one is our ego. What will people think? How will this look? The show I have to put on. I've got no money saved for my old age, but it's important to drive a new car. Really? Who are you doing that for? So we sometimes need to check our ego, and all of this leads to procrastination. You add all these things working together, and it leads to, well, I thought I was going to do it. I tried to do it. I was about to do it, and then, I don't know, life. And then this quote by Brad Sugars, the founder of the business, comes in, which is really important. What you say to yourself about yourself. When you buy yourself, that's the most important. And we've all got these voices in our head, some of which are truthful, most of which are lies. And that's what holds us back. That's why we have all those bad habits that we just look like. Can you imagine the wisdom from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? It takes procrastination, which starts to feel like laziness, starts to make you guilty because you're not focused. And you actually know you're probably focused on too many things. You're probably trying to do too many things. You're probably trying to keep too many people happy instead of saying, what's the most important thing I need to do? That I need to focus on. And everything must go into that. Everything. So let's look at that. So later today, you're going to review and you're going to plan 5 categories to give you that focus. What are your big 5 things? Around health. Why is that the most important? If you don't have health, you're dead. Or walking dead, which is even worse. So you need health. Then you need wealth, because wealth needs to actually fund health, believe it or not. If you don't want the medical science fraternity to kill you, then best have a decent medical aid, because half of them will still kill you, but at least it's half. You need money for that. You need money for good food. You need money for good environment, all the rest of it. None of you are excited about building your business for next year. Can you imagine signing up another client or another staff member? Interview them. They promise you all this stuff. You know they're not going to deliver. Dingus, on the 24th, I have to now actually type into the payroll to pay this bliksem, and I know they're useless. And I have to deal with a bank manager, and I've got stars on my back, and the accountant's forever, saying I owe him something. Anybody? But that's what we focus on. And there's no something behind that we do. So get to the end of the year, I'm just grateful to be alive. I'm grateful I made another year. Why am I dankbaar to wees? We say things like that, but we're not really dankbaar, we're just grateful. I need something personal that's driving me, that I'm excited about. Then I build a business to fund that. Just give me time and money to get what I want out of life and make me wealthy and make sure I don't kill myself and I have health. And then, of course, we must contribute. So they were talking about 100 Rand and 500 Rand fines. We raised 51,700 Rand in a 2.5-day conference last week. Some of it through fines and then some of it through donations. So whilst we're learning, whilst we're having fun, we're able to then contribute to others. Because no matter how bad life is, there's billions of people. And John Robbie from 702 always used to say about billions when the politicians are wasting billions. He says, that's billions with a B, not millions. Billions of people wake up every morning wanting what you already have. Billions. We have to get our shit together. Okay, so you might have seen this before. We're not going to go into this in too much detail. That's the route that we go. Most of us are still stuck in self-employed, maybe a little bit of manager. No. We need to start being business owners. We need to start being true investors in our business, running it as true shareholder-based organizations, and then build the organization to be an entrepreneur. We're going to create raving fans, make us excess. Jodi's going to tell us where to put the money so that we can be wealthy. Fantastic. Life is good. But if we do the same thing that we've always done, what will we get? The same thing. Do the same shit. Get the same shit. So if you're not going to do something different next year, you're not going to try something new, if you're not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and start over, well, then you're probably going to get the same thing. So we're going to have to do some new things, because sadly, life and success and the future we want is a little bit outside of where I currently am. It is. So, just quickly, the depression session before we get into some things to go do about it. So my favorite question to ask everybody on the planet is, how's business? How's business? And people say things like, yeah, good, not too bad, could be better, okay, all the rest of it. I have never heard this from anybody's lips, saying, oh, Harry, I'm so bored. I'm sitting in the Maldives most of the year thinking, where am I going to hide more of my profits? Because, you know, I'm making so much money, I'm so relaxed, I'm so bored, you know, this is really such a hard life. Nobody's ever said that to me, ever. Okay. So I'd like you all to stand for the second question after I ask people how's business. Everybody stand. So think for yourself, how's business been? Might have been good, might have been okay, might have been brilliant, might have been bad, doesn't matter. Get a sense in your mind about the year. If I'd asked you how's business, what are you typically going to answer? So you've got something around how the year's been, right? How's business? Okay. Now the second most important question. Have you made enough money? Have you made enough money? If you think you've made enough money, please take your seat. If you think, and I'm not so sure about that, or maybe if you can't say you've made enough money, then please remain standing. Now look around the room. What are you doing? How are you putting in all this effort, sacrificing health, relationships, stress levels, mindset, probably taking years of your life, and you haven't made enough money? Oh, but Harry, you know, it's not just about the money, they say. Have you ever found yourself saying that? Or at least thinking that? No, it's not just about the money. I like my pathetic life. Okay? So now let's do another exercise. First sit down, and then you're going to stand again. So first sit down. Some of you have done this before, so it's going to be really embarrassing if you're not able to sit again. So I want you to write down on a piece of paper. You've got these beautiful journals, thanks to that and Peter. I want you to write down an amount, a monthly amount of what you think you're worth. So if you had to go back to the job market, if you had to be a salary earner, if you had to work for somebody else, you could get it back as a salary in the market. Now, you might not get the job, but let's say jobs are available. You're going back into the market with your skills and you're going to earn a salary. Write down what is that monthly amount that you would need to earn based on your experience, your expertise, and your skills. What would you have to earn back in the job market? What would somebody have to pay you? Everybody got an amount. It's not a hypothetical exercise. Really important to put into paper because our minds trick us and allow us to bullshit ourselves. So we want to write down an amount. You went back into the job market with your skills, with your experience. What would somebody have to pay? You've got an amount written down. Good. Now you write down below that and maybe use a different color so you can see it stand out. What are you currently paying yourself regularly on the same date every month? Now, I don't want to say, oh, well, you know, Harry, I just got a good deal. You know, this month I'm going to take out 100,000. Oh, next month I'm having a bit of a cuck month. I'm putting 10 in. No, no, no. What are you taking out as a regular salary for yourself every single month? Now, if it's 1 month a bit higher, 1 month a bit lower, then maybe average it out. But regularly, what are you taking out of your business every single month? And write it down. Now, some of you, this one's a little bit nerve-wracking to write down because you go, oh, swimming. Sure. So you've got one amount. What do you think you're worth? If you had to go back into the job market. The second one is what you're paying yourself currently every single month. Right. Now let's get the blood flowing again. Everybody stand up. Okay, everybody standing. Good. So if your first amount was lower, you're currently paying yourself every month more than what you would expect to get as a salary, you may sit down. If your first amount was the higher amount, please remain standing. I'm glad you're staying for drinks tonight, because it looks like we're going to have a lot of therapy required. Because welcome to all the morons in the room. Why on earth would you undertake business ownership with all its stresses, all its strains. Yes, it's got a lot of advantages, but damn, it's got a lot of downside. And somebody else would pay you more than what you're paying yourself. Why would you do that? To me, that's the height of insanity. Because you'll then plan a wonderful quarter and a wonderful year, and you work your heart off, and you'll make lots of people lots of money, and you still won't be paying yourself what you're worth. So in your plans for next year, best that amount be in there. So you can have a seat. Because it gets worse. In your business, not only must you be paying yourself a market-related salary, because you're doing the work. Anybody except our friend here that went to the Amazon momentarily, now is back to doing work. Anybody not have to go to the office ever again? Anybody? Hello? Nobody. Okay, good. So you're at work most of the time. You're doing work. Therefore, you should get a market-related salary. Because you're doing the work. But as the business owner, what are you also? The shareholder, whether all on your own or with partners. What do shareholders get when they invest money elsewhere? Dividends, returns, interest. Would you keep Jodi from Citadel on as your advisor if she was giving you no returns? So why are you all still employed? Because you're not even paying yourselves what you're worth. Where the more is the profit that you're supposed to be getting on top of that? So Mrs. Roy, those should be the two voices in your head shouting the loudest. Market-related salary, return on investment. Market-related salary, return on investment. That's what I need to get. Now, what I've seen the last year, 18 months in particular, effort in, money out, not in balance. Depressed entrepreneurs, tired entrepreneurs, procrastinating entrepreneurs, fearful entrepreneurs. I'm putting in all this effort, but what am I getting back? So if I do it today, I do it tomorrow, I have this conversation with a staff member or not, is it really worth it? It is worth it if I'm paying what I'm worth and I'm getting return investment. So you'll see where that goes in. So you build a milking machine today, you know, if that's what you choose to do, and then you extract the wealth and you put it elsewhere. And as we said, we've got the individuals to help you do that. Or you decide, no, I'm going to build this thing that it's a saleable asset so I can get paid the third time. Market-related salary, return on investment. When I sell my investments, what do I get? Lump sum, cash. I sold my property. I sold all my shares. I sold all my unit trust. I sold all my Bitcoin. I get paid the third time. It pays me money while I've got them, and then it pays me when I get rid of it. Those are the 3 times you should be paid as an entrepreneur. So, where do you fit on this scale of your finances? Yeah? Are you still desperate or not? Are you maybe getting through the end of the month? You know, and that's okay. Paying the bills, no longer living paycheck to paycheck. So I've got a bit of breathing room, and you think, oh, I've arrived. Now, for me, this is fascinating. People start coaching so they can go from level 1 to level 3. And then they go, oh, Peter, that, sure, thank you. You guys have helped me so much. You know, I'm so grateful. Where were you 20 years ago? And then they go, I'm going to implement everything you've said, and I'm going to come back later when I need you again. And then I said to these gentlemen, where are you letting them go? So if you guys thought that this coaching thing was going to take another 6 months, another year or 2, another year or 3, if you are not here, allowed to ever leave your coach. Because I'm going to kick your ass next year to make you more money. And if you're not here, you're not going anywhere. Because entrepreneurs are positive, glass half full, passionate, wonderful people. That's the problem. Think, oh, tomorrow it will get better. Next year it will come right. I'll then finally put the money back into my pension I took to start the business. I'll catch up all the investments I haven't done in the last decade. One day my business will sell and I'll have millions. Most of you, your business won't even exist in the next 20 years. The world have to make more money. So the best recipe for getting out the shit comes from Dave Ramsey's book, The Money Makeover. Honestly, the best book on money, I think, in the market. Because it talks about how we manage money on emotion, not on logic. And the problem is most people in money circles, finance circles, want you to try and manage your money on logic. So let's just check in the room. Who's ever paid off a credit card? Hands up. Okay. Second hand up if you've paid up multiple credit cards over the years. Who of you still have credit cards? Oh, the same people. Yes, let's pay up the credit card. The biggest debt, the worst debt. Oh, Madonna, the other Black Friday special. Got back to credit card. And you're paying it off every month. Every single month. Yeah, that's fine. And then you get benefits and points and stuff like that. Yes, you can manage it. But a lot of people paying off the credit card and then just using it again for other stuff and then having to pay it off again. They're not paying it off every month. So we don't manage our money. So the first thing you do is you get $1,000 equivalent, so 15, 20,000 rand sitting there. Why? Because if the geyser bursts, is it going to cost more than 20? Probably not. If you need a new set of tires and you don't drive Jan's Monster, then you can probably buy a new set of tires for under 20. So the $1,000 is just that comfort that I've got breathing space. Then I pay off all my debt, the lowest debt first, and the snowball effect, because I want it off my plate so I feel better. R1 million in my bank account makes me feel a lot better than having R1 million less debt. It's just the way we are as humans. So that's why we try and pay off our cars, we try and pay off our houses, and it doesn't give us any joy. Yes, because I never had the money in the first place, I just owe less. It doesn't motivate me. But okay, so get rid of your debt. Then have a GTS fund, a go-to-shit fund, so that you can fund that. And then start investing a lot more money. Okay, so here's the practical stuff that you can take screenshots of this, or you can write them down. In your business, you need to do all 6 of these. You need to have a budget. A budget is not something you do once and never look at it again. Or you have it and then after the first month you go, oh, well, that was a disaster. Let's write off month 1, let's go to month 2. No. It's a carrying document for the rest of your life. You need to put a cash flow component to that, because guess what? The people won't pay you when they think. So you budget, I'm going to sell in January. Are they going to pay you in January? Oh, no, they've got 60-day terms. Wonderful. So the budget says January the sale. Cash flow only gets the money in March. But shit, I prepaid some of my suppliers already in December. That's why the gap gets bigger and we get emotional, because seemingly we're doing the business, we're doing the numbers, but I don't have the cash. I need to have the cash flow forecast. I then need to have a profit break even, which must include my market-related salary and the target return investment that I want. That goes into the budget. Because when I woke up at 3:30 this morning, did I think, well, this is going to be a lacquer day. Let me go fly all the way to Joburg, spend some time with these wonderful people in the farmland so that we can break even. Is that a good philosophy in life? The only people that think that's a good idea is professors that teach that crap to kids in university. Break even. Why on earth would you ever do a break even analysis? That means after all of us working our gut off, we make naught. That's what a break even means. Why would you even bother with an exercise like that? After everything we've done, what is the surplus? That goes into the budget. You then have KPIs, both input stuff as well as output stuff. A lagging indicator is output at the end. I want to hit a certain amount of turnover. What's an input? My salespeople have to do a certain amount of calls. We have to do a certain amount of sales. Now, when you're doing this, the best thing you can do is break it down for when it becomes so simple and ridiculous. So let's just use example. You have to do R1 million. One staff member must do R1 million a month for you. The rep, they must do R1 million in sales. That sounds like a lot, does it? Depending on your business, yeah, it sounds like a lot. Okay, there's 250,000 rand a week. Yeah, that still kind of sounds like a lot. 50,000 rand a day. Okay, it's sounding a little bit easier. 25,000 Rand before lunch, 25,000 Rand after lunch. Well, that's not sounding too difficult anymore. And in fact, what would it be? 5,250 Rand an hour. Well, depending what you're selling, 5,250 Rand an hour could be pretty easy. I did this with a person that sold pumps a little while ago, and the pumps are 30,000 Rand per pump. I said, so the person only has to sell one pump every 6.5 hours. Oh, but Harry, they were at the mining in Durban, and they were out for a week. I said, oh, so you're not expecting to sell any pumps as a result of being at the mining in Durban? Oh, no, we're planning to sell plenty. I said, well, you only have to sell 7 pumps, 6.5 pumps a week to make a target. Like, well, we're hoping to get more than that per day after the mining Durban. So we think our KPIs are high. We think our staff are working hard. They, of course, tell us, oh, working so hard. Break it down, week, day, hour, 20 minutes. We had a lady that was in a retail establishment with a bit of a service component. It took 20 minutes to do a sale. The staff said they're working too hard. They need more people in sales. When we actually worked it out, to hit their targets, they only needed to do a sale every 3 hours and 20 minutes. It only took 20 minutes to do a sale. So they could literally do a sale and then leave for 3 hours and come back and do one sale. They thought they were working really hard. So once you've done the exercise, you break it down to the simplicity, then it's easy. Must have management accounts. And this is how much have I made? And this is, was it all worth it? Let's not get accountants to confuse us. Income statement, simple. At the end of all this effort, how much did I make? At the end of all this effort, what is it worth? That's income statement balance sheet. That's how we drive it. But much more importantly, we need to start playing the money game. So who likes playing Monopoly? Who hates playing Monopoly? Those that love playing Monopoly, do you normally win? Those that hate playing Monopoly, do you normally lose? Those that normally lose, do you accuse the ones of winning that always cheating? They cheat? Yeah. Every family has them. Why? Because some people have learned the rules and the tricks that make it successful. You buy as quickly as you can and you don't worry too much about cash flow, but you still have cash flow. You negotiate. So when you get better at the rules, you get better at the game. When you get better at the game, you win more often. When you win more often, you like playing the game more. When you lose, do you ever learn the rules? You make a point of finding out the tricks. You try and beat that irritating family member that always cheats to win. No, you just don't want to play anymore. If you don't want to play anymore, you never learn to win. So this is how you learn to win. I encourage every single person to do this, is draw up your own personal balance sheet. What are the assets that you have and what do you owe on those assets? And then you'll come up with what's left is the net asset value. Now I do it on Excel. You don't have to do it like I do it, but I do it like a balance sheet would be long-term assets, short-term assets, long-term liabilities, short-term liabilities, what's left. Every quarter, I open a new tab and I do the same exercise again. And then I put some formulas in to see what was the growth. Because now it's a game. And who am I playing that game with? Myself. You know, I blew more money on my overdraft. Oh, now all of a sudden my net asset value goes down. The markets had a good run. Oh, I made a bit of money. Yes, we had COVID and everything tanked. Depressed, I should sell everything. I should fire Jodi. Oh, no, but if I look at last year this time in the year, I'm still up. Oh, okay, no, the game's not that bad. So when you're doing that every single quarter, you start to learn what's working and what's not working. You have different conversations with your advisors because they are either making it work or not. You start to look at your debt very different because debt that we've got, that we've always had, we're not worried about. Shit, when I look at it every single quarter and it's not coming down fast enough, or I think, geez, I'm paying 30,000 Rand a month out on debt and my net asset value has gone nowhere in a quarter, then I start to get the mood in with myself to say, oh, okay, I must change this. And the beauty about your net asset value is you've got 3 levers to affect it. The one is you pay off your debt. Less liabilities, all of a sudden you're wealthier. The other is you put more money into investments and savings. Put more money into investments and savings, guess what happens? You're wealthier. Then when you put investments and savings with good, reputable people, like Jodi will tell you about after this, they actually help you make money on your money. Oh, cool. I sleep and they make money for me. 3 levers to affect my wealth. So this should be 30% year-on-year growth. Because you should put 10% more in every single year. You should pay off at least 10% of your debt, at least every single year. And if you've got the target and the focus of getting a 10% on average return, you won't get it every year, you won't get it on every investment. But if you over time have different investments, you can get 10% return over time on your investment. Now, I'm not doing stupid shit like taking a tip from my friend and putting my life savings in there. Or like a mother I know the other day that listened to a daughter-in-law because her son-in-law, listened to a daughter because her son-in-law, the husband, had this scheme where they were going to buy this diamond digger and they were going to get this great license and they're going to start mining for diamonds. He's a car salesperson. What the f does he know about diamonds? The mother, living in a retirement home, has just lost 700,000 rand. So she footed the deposit. He said he was putting some of his own money in. How much did he put in? 0. You don't do cock like that when you're playing the game. You're understanding where your money's going. And then this is the most sobering thing you can do with those Excel spreadsheets. Compare it to last quarter and compare this quarter to the same time last year. Because then you get to see up or down. And if it's up, you feel good, you pat yourself on the back, you're winning, you want to play more of the game. If it's down, you get the mooring with yourself and you change something. But when you don't look at it, what do? All. So that's how you run it. And then Bat and Peter said, you know, my clients are quite lazy. They always want a shortcut. What can we do to give them a shortcut? Here's the shortcut. There's the high performance system. The first thing is you should have started yesterday. You didn't, so you are here today. Well done. The next one is you put into your diary every single week a wealth hour. Doesn't matter when your wealth hour is. Could be a Monday night, could be a Thursday morning, could be a afternoon. The point is you must have a regular wealth hour. What do you do in that wealth hour? You'll figure it out. The first hour, you go and create your little balance sheet. And you look at your stuff. And every quarter, you'll update it. Then you start, because you've done that, you go, well, let me draw my portfolio if I have got investments and actually look at what they send me when they send me going down. What are they saying about the market? I want to invest in property. Good, use your wealth hour to start researching for the bond, getting your financials in order, whatever the case may be. But it's the discipline looking at your wealth that helps it grow. Even people that abdicate and give it to somebody else, that's when they get burnt. The discipline. So you have your wealth hour. You then make sure that you're getting a market-related salary and a return on investment. But Harry, I have to build a much bigger business for that. No. Now here's the thing. We are much more excited about being paid what we're worth and making the profit that we should than we are about signing another client, starting a new marketing strategy, hiring another bloody alien that I have to pay on the 25th. That doesn't excite any one of us. But getting something out for our efforts, oh, that excites us plenty. And most of us don't hit our goals because they are cock boring. We've created this boring life that we're not excited about, rinse and repeat with a little bit of inflation. Nobody is excited doing that over and over and over. So don't do it. Then have a wealth plan, investment plan. Jodi's going to help you a little bit with that. FAST stands for Forced Accelerated Savings Technique. Every month or every quarter or every week, however you invest money, is just add in a little bit more. I was putting 1,000 Rand into money market. I'm now going to put 1,100. Not that difficult. I was putting 1,100. Now I'm going to put 1,210. I'm upping it by 10%. The first plenty of those little 10% increases is easy. Then it gets a little bit harder when you've been doing it for a long time. Good. Then in your wealth hour, you're now looking at your budget, your expenses, you're reviewing your costs, you're phoning insurance company and saying, hey, people, I'm not going to pay more, I'm going to pay less. How do we make this work? You're now playing the game because I want to put my forced accelerated increase in. You automatically put increases through on your investments every single year as a minimum. People go, oh, I'm going to sign up for this 5,000 Rand RA, I'm going to leave it like that forever. No, you're going to put in a minimum of 10%, actually 15% every year extra, so that inflation can eat 5 and you can have 10. That's why 15%. Put some money into tax-free investments. Who's got tax-free investments here? You? The rest of you? You're born under a rock? What's wrong with you? The government gives you nothing for free, like nothing. Literally nothing, except a tax-free investment. So, and often, how ironic, you get better returns in your tax-free investment than you do in some of your normal investments. So if the government's giving it to you for free, best you use it. Oh, government gives me nothing. Well, it did give you that and you did nothing with it either. So tax-free investment. And then loyalty programs, they are my favorite. Because how many of you actually know and understand your loyalty programs? One. Getting there. What did we say about, but okay, we'll use the word getting there. Okay, so we've got like 2.5 people in the room. The rest of you have got a wallet full of plastic that will pollute the world and you're not using it to your advantage. You can save tens of thousands of rands a year with 3 or 4 loyalty partners. I save a minimum of 30,000 Rand a year on Discovery Vitality alone. Every now and again, something arrives at home, and my wife, and especially my mother, she's always the one on my back. Oh, was this really necessary? Well, eBucks delivered it. I ordered it, of course, but I didn't pay for it. eBucks paid for it. So the more you do that, the better quality life you can have, and the more money you have to put elsewhere. But if you're going to sit here today and plan the same boring business, a little bit more than you did last year, a bit of inflationary increase, or let's go really large and do 20% more, then you are wasting your time. Because it's not going to excite you. It's not going to change the quality of your life. It's not going to make you feel any better. Yet, with relative ease, you can make 61% more profit next year if you allow those two gentlemen to focus on what's important. The fact that Sunny didn't pitch for work is not important. The fact that you just can't understand why you don't do what you're supposed to do is not important, because you're not excited about doing what you're supposed to do. Use your coach for things that are important, and the rest must wait. When we do our big 5 today, I will be here the whole day, the whole night. I'm only going to bed apparently after 4 o'clock. So you are going to be heart full of me, but you are not leaving this premises with shitty goals. Because your shitty goals will not excite you, and you will not build a business to fulfill them. So let's create some really good goals, and let's have a lot of fun in the process, and actually have fun making money. Because is there any danger to making more money? Anybody worried about, making more money? Yes, you might have, especially in the black communities, you'll have more friends and family wanting more. Then you just say no. There is no downside to making more money. But there's more of a downside to having another year like we had this year. If you add a few of these in a row, yeah, not so lucky, eh? Good. Any questions as, yes? Yeah, and that's normally what people do to make themselves feel better about paying themselves shitty salaries. No, and they know, because Jan's 100% right. What you pay yourself every month, there are other things. Cell phone bill, the petrol card, a little bit of insurance, the maid at home, a couple of groceries. Well, those are value adds to being in business. So that's your allowable tax layer. But here's what we don't take into account. At the end of the month, where 50,000, let's just say, hits my bank account, I don't go add up plus 1,500 to Vodacom, plus so much for the maid, plus so much for the groceries, so I can see my 100. I just look at it and go, I'm paying myself 50. Well, what am I paying SARS every month? A shitload more than 50. What am I paying some of my staff a month? More than 50. So I'm only feeling worth 50 because I don't go do the exercise. Now, if you had the discipline, most humans will never, to add it all up and come up with your total cost of company to make yourself feel better, maybe. But we run our business based on emotion. Then I look at jobs being advertised and I look and listen to what my mates are earning. I forget that my cell phone and my petrol and stuff has gone through. I'm going, yeah, this is cock. I'm putting up with a lot more stress. They're going overseas, they're doing this, and they're earning double what I'm earning. So we don't factor in the emotional part because we don't go look at that stuff. The other reality is, if you're building the asset and you want your business to be sold, any of you have ever bought a business, what happens? You buy a business that's making no money. And they go, yeah, but if you did this and you add back this and all the rest of it, then all of a sudden it looks like it's making money. Am I going to buy that business, pay you what it's worth? Because you've put the Skoonma's, retirement home through there. That makes no difference. I can't bank on that. So my valuation for my business, the more I do that type of stuff, is also impacted. Now, you don't want to pay SARS anything that you don't have to. So you want to do some of that as well. But more often than not, we're not paying ourselves anywhere near enough. And the small commitment.
Spreadsheet where you put all the extras in, all your and work out your cost to company. Because then you're going to feel better about what you're earning anyway.
And you might see there's opportunities for doing other things. Well, I could actually move this from my personal account into my business. Learn to play the game. Dan's a lot further than some of you plays the game. When you're playing the game, you're playing levers, you're adjusting different things, you're seeing what the impact is. Most of us are so busy, we haven't got time to play the game. That's why we're losing. Any other questions, comments? Why are you not looking so happy? I thought we were going to make more money this year. Everybody's looking so sad. This was the depression session. Yeah. I promise you by the end of today, you'll feel a lot better. But it is the reality check. It is really that reality check. Because we get so busy making money for somebody else that we neglect ourselves. Some of you are okay, you're still young enough. Some of you around the table, not so young anymore, running out of time. And people will tell you all sorts of things. So I'll leave you the last thing as Jodi comes forward. They'll say things like, look at a replacement ratio of your final income to like 70% because you won't have kids and your cost of living will be lower. All of us know somebody that's outlived their money. Sadly, some of those are our family. You will probably live longer, if you live longer than your money will last. Your inflation will far outstrip what the government quotes. And you will want to go visit your kids overseas, or do something for your grandkids, or buy a new car after 20 years because you didn't think you're going to live this long and now your economics not working. So 100% of what you're earning times 30, your annual salary times 30 is what you should be chasing to have saved. If you're, let's just say, R1 million a year, what it takes to keep you going, 80,000 rand a month. If you haven't saved 30 million rand, don't even think about ever retiring. Because you won't be able to. You just will not be able to. That's a big number for most people. But best to keep going.
Thank you, Harry.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone. So we take a 2-minute break, stretch your legs, and give Jodi some time to set up. Gwatla, can you just type in the chat there that we're going to take a 2-minute break?
Better. Okay. I don't know. Oh, I will it. Okay, much better. But I don't even, is the mic working? Oh, there. Ah, brilliant. Brilliant. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Okay, happy. Perfect. I think it's good. I can, yes. Oh, it's a block. Oh, must I put it? Oh, perfect. I'm happy. No, I'm happy. It's okay. Yeah, I don't need to see it. Oh, the corners. Yeah. Oh, there. Clever. Oh, brilliant. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so we are ready
And then this one is
on that side. Yeah. Good to go. How are you? Anything new? Anything?
The kids were here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but
And
we're
your
back on Saturday.
No.
Yeah, that's good. Like little warrior, 13 months. So what I do of it. Uniform. But yeah, so we have to plan for us.
Yes, okay. Just gotta finish your house. That's the first thing.
Fix the house and then,
No, I mean, what did they say? Did they give you any? Nothing. It's out of their hands.
yeah, so at least I don't.
But they're not okay.
No, I agree. But then how do you judge them? Spell it.
So now tell me, today, it's today and tomorrow, so it's 2 days.
Not tomorrow, it's not today. Actually, just have breakfast.
And then you go. Okay, so, because it is, it's, but it's, yeah, it's not great, but it's not too bad. And it's not too far, like it was an hour 20. No, and I hate being late. Oh, did you?
The GPS, I don't want it. Normally I'll just take
The highway?
I go through Atlas Road.
Yes. Yes. Why did it take you that way?
I'll buy back.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, no, because the traffic, exactly, that's the problem. No. Oh, no. Sorry, thank you. Good in you. How are you? Good.
Our next session is going to be right, next session. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate the help. Next session is going to be led by Jodi Suchard from Citadel. Jodi and I have been together for a couple of years now in terms of my own investment, but number of you also know Jodi, and that's a meeting with her and a discussion. But yeah, I think as in line with our discussion and our program, it's all about wealth and wealth creation. And Jodi, we really appreciate you coming out here. I know it's a bit of a drive, but really great to have you, and we're looking forward to what you're going to share.
Thank you. I'm just going to, yeah. Okay. Okay, there we go.
At Citadel, we offer advice, not just on where to invest, but more importantly, why. That's because we know our clients, and each of them has their own dreams and ambitions. Life beyond unremarkable. Simply put, our job is to help reach that remarkable, whatever it is. We understand what drives our clients, we know what they need for success. We realize how hard won their wealth is, and we're mindful of what keeps them upright. So we keep things personal. No two investment terms are the same. Every new portfolio is different. Each individual gets our full attention. Wish them a life more remarkable.
Thank you for allowing me to talk to today. A lot of you have most probably heard, no, a lot of you have, there we go. A lot of you maybe have heard Citadel and what we do from an investment management perspective, but it's more than what you hear about. We are a tailor-made solution for individuals. We're looking, like Harry said, to ensure that we create a legacy and ensure that you can pay your bills for the remainder of your lifetime. So from where I come from, I'm a senior advisory partner at Citadel. I've been in the industry for a number of years. I started my journey, let's call it, with doing my articles at Fisher Hoffman Citadel back in those days, so giving away my age somewhat. Then I moved on to investment banking, and I moved into corporate finance. And why I'm giving you the journey of my career is each one of us are skilled and professional in what we do and how we look after our clients. We also understand that a lot of emotion, like Harry pointed out, comes when it comes to investments. How to invest your funds is very emotional. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a snapshot of Citadel and just letting you read this quote. Is freedom anything else than the right to live as we wish? Nothing else. And freedom comes with having enough money to enjoy your life. So just what Citadel is, we've been in the industry around for over 30 years. We believe, one of the top wealth management companies in South Africa. All we do is look after individuals. We are not a bank. So we're not selling you any product services. Harry did mention loyalty products at Discovery. We don't do that. We are not linked to any financial institution, which is important because we are giving advice to our clients and we only get paid by our clients. That's key to everything we do. So we don't look after institutional money. We look after individuals and their companies if required. So a bit of an overview of how many clients we have. We are specialized in our field. We only have about 11,000 clients. We are managing just under 100 billion rand worth of family money only across the globe, not only in South Africa, but international money. We have a client retention ratio of 99%, and that we look and guard jealously. The reason we have such a client retention ratio is we're not pushing products on our clients. We believe we're giving you the best advice, and therefore we retain our clients for their whole lifetime, and journey with money. We also, we've got offices both locally and offshore in Guernsey, UK, together with Switzerland. So you'll see just a bit of an overview over here of our offices, but we haven't updated the screen now to include the UK and Switzerland, but we do have a presence across the globe. We assist clients with moving the money abroad, structuring it in a tax-efficient manner, and ensuring that their legacy planning is well catered for. So that's just us, snapshot, Citadel. What I'm here to talk about is your personal finance, your personal economy. And how do we create value for our clients? So that's important for everyone. Investment philosophy, because what Harry did talk about was emotion drives our behavior. And that shouldn't be the case when it comes to investments. You need to be clinical and objective. So we'll just delve into those details. Budgeting principles, which was discussed, but just a different way in which we look at certain things. And it copies what Harry has said, to pay off your debt, to ensure you have liquid money, and to save money at the same time. And then fiduciary and wills, which we always forget about. We always say we're invincible, maybe, that nothing will ever happen to us. Our wills will get taken care of at a later stage. However, this is part of our full financial planning for our clients. We look at wills, we look at trusts, we look at offshore vehicles. It's part of our service. So I'm going to just share a story with everyone. I'm going to just take you to a story. I don't know if you've heard about Grace Groner and Richard Fuskin. So the two individuals are completely different. Grace Groner was orphaned at the age of 12. She had no ties to any community. She never got married. She lived in a small apartment, and she was a secretary for her whole life. Grace died at the age of 100. This was in 2010. She amassed $7 million. Now you ask the question, how is that possible as a secretary? Did she win the lotto? Did she inherit money? Her philosophy was about savings. She enjoyed over 80 years of the power of compounding, and she saved her money. The same year, when Grace Groner passed away, and that's why it's intertwined, Richard Fuskin, who is well known in the banking industry, he was declared bankrupt. He was 40 years old when he retired. He was an investment banker to Merrill Lynch. He decided to pursue his own charitable pursuits and obligations and give back. However, with poor planning, with poor budgeting, he lost everything. And how are these two stories so intertwined? That investment is about emotion, that we always consider doing something based on what our desire is to do something. However, Grace Groner considered the power of compounding. Like Warren Buffett always says, put some money aside and enjoy compounding. And Harry's also said, put money aside and continue to live like that and save. So no two stories could be like this ever in your lifetime. But one thing that's important is you need to be objective when it comes to your personal wealth. And that's key to preserving your wealth and growing it. So I just wanted to shed some light on that. How do we create value for our clients? Now I'm going to just give you a few below your means. So that's a point that Harry did bring up in the process. Don't overspend and live on debt, because you should be paying off your debt as well before you actually do anything else with the funds. Put your money to work. The power of compounding. Grace Groner is the perfect example. You can all Google her and Google Richard Fuskin and see this particular story. Protect what you've got. Now that comes down to wills, fiduciary, estate planning, which everyone forgets to do. We always focus on let's make money, but how do we make money in the most tax-efficient manner and preserve it for us and generations to come? And don't interrupt the power of compounding. So I'm going to just take you on how we see your personal economy and how we look at it. So I'm going to point you to the lifestyle assets. Lifestyle assets relates to your primary home, your cars, your aeroplanes, anything that supports your personal economy, your personal life, and ensures that you will enjoy your life. That's regarded as a lifestyle asset. You're not going to sell it. You mustn't be willing, you don't want to take profit on your home. It's something completely separate and is there for your lifetime and enjoyment. What's also important is you should be paying off that debt, because most probably what happens in your lifestyle silo is you've borrowed money to buy that fancy car, to buy that home. So you should also slowly be paying off the debt that sits within in that silo. Then I'll talk about next generation. And I know we all talk about kids, or even leaving a legacy to your spouse, your partner. That's what we call next generation. That is governed, that's the excess money you've created, and that's governed by your wills, your structures that you have in place. So it's more estate planning fiduciary obligation that we look at. And then the two that you both, I'm sure everyone's intertwined and knows, is business. That's why you're here at Action Coach. Wealth creation is your business. It's going to make you wealthier. And then we've got what we call wealth preservation, is a savings mechanism. These two silos, and why I point to the two silos, they have different principles and they're completely opposite, which is important. Wealth creation, how do you make more money, is your involvement, which is important. That's how you grow your business. Is if you're not actively involved in it, it's not going to continue to grow. You have a competitive advantage. You know something, you specialize, you're focused in one particular area, and that's how you have a competitive advantage against other people. Within business, debt is good, and I know everyone shies away from it, but in business life, the right debt is very good to take, and that's important. Also, you can service your debt with your cash flow planning. What wealth preservation does, which is completely opposite to wealth creation, emotion should never be brought into your investment life. You need to be clinical when it comes to your personal investments. So when I talk about wealth creation, you must be involved. If a business isn't working, close it down, sell the business, cut somebody's salary, retrench, increase your salary if need be. But in your own investment, emotion is the worst thing you can possibly do. You need to take out the emotion. How do you do that? You hire somebody. You appoint an advisor who gets paid by yourself. That's important. Diversification. So I'm not here to tell you why you should buy Tesla today because of what happened last week with Trump. That's not what we do. We believe the more diversified you are, the greater the chance of growth. So we do not take a punt on one single investment or one single company. Your business, you focused, you clear, you have one, let's call it, you focus on one sector. Whereas wealth preservation, it's diversified, which is important. Never borrow money to start a wealth preservation investment. So like I said, in business, debt is good, but this money that in wealth preservation should be used from excess savings. Even if it's small amount, it's all about consistent good decisions. Excess saving is where you start your preservation part. Remember, so now this is where everyone gets unsettled, uncomfortable. In your business, if you're not making 20+% return, why are you doing it? Like we say. In wealth preservation, we're not here to make 20+ return. We're here to make consistent good return. Yes, there will be years where we will do unbelievably well. And what I mean by unbelievably well is 15% in dollars. That's unbelievably well, but then you compare it to the market did over 20%. So understand our mandate with our clients is preserving the wealth you've created. So those two are completely opposite on this side. If I look at how we fit in, we help you with your personal economy. We help you with the wealth management side, the planning, the investment strategy. We help you with the financial plan that we need to set aside. What I do with my clients, which helps them every year, like you do with your business, you have a projection. You work on targets. You say, this is how much I'm going to save this year. And we stick to the plan. And we ensure we save that. So we have a year projection going forward, and we look what happened last year as well. Fiduciary, like I say, we've got an in-house Citadel fiduciary legal team that assists our clients with the wills and the estate planning. Offshore structures. So what I always say to my clients is South Africa, and you'll see a slide now, South Africa is 0.4% of the world's economy. Why only invest in South Africa? There's so much more across the globe. So diversification across the globe is key to preserving and growing your wealth, and in hard currency. Then we talk about tax planning. So we assist you, like Harry brought up, tax-free savings. Yes, very good mechanism. We've got other mechanisms that can save you from a tax efficiency perspective. So we do sit with each one of our clients and understand their requirements and work within their parameters. Treasury, we move money offshore for our clients. We are not a bank, and that's important to point out, but we assist clients to move money offshore. And one thing that I've seen over the years, been in this industry for a long time, I know you might not think so because I look young, but one thing that's important is money does not make you happy. So as much money as you possibly could have, it does not make you happy and fill that need that everyone's looking for. So we have a philanthropy division where people give back, but physically work and do good and feel good about where their money is going. So that's our philanthropy also. That's headed up by Jean de Villiers. So this is how we look at everything before we get started. Our first conversation with clients is to understand what you've got like this in the silos. Then basically to grow our wealth in a healthy manner is key to preserving it, not putting money away for an investment and then in 6 months' time taking lump sums out because we didn't plan properly. Good standard of living. Don't live beyond your means, like we've spoken about. When you're going to retire is key. So now everyone asks me, how much money do I need to retire? So that's a very important question. We help you plan for that. I know it's not an easy question. We assist you with what we call a lifelong cash flow analysis. We take your current spending and we say, if you were to live till 95, how much money do you need to set aside? And we work on that plan. Either you've set it aside now, that you've got that money, or we work towards a goal. Because when retirement comes, there's no second chance. There's no second act here. You need to ensure that you've saved enough money so that you can retire happily and comfortably. So we help you with that cash flow analysis. Anything, we look after what we call the wealth preservation part. So we want to ensure when you retire, that money that is set aside is safe and preserved. Anything above that, you can blow on anything you want. You can spend it on anything you want, or you leave it what we call for opium, other people's money. Money in your lifetime, you'll never spend, but you to a legacy behind kids, and it has a different investment strategy, a different plan completely. So retirement is 10 years before you retire to ensure that you've got enough money. 65, if that's your goal, you retire comfortably because if you live till 95, got a lot of spending to do and a lot of money you need to ensure is well preserved. And then, like I said, leave a legacy to your family if that's what you want, or philanthropy or the like. So we face a lot of risks in our journey. So we talk, it sounds all simple and nice and easy. But the biggest risks we are facing is these three. Inflation, which we know has a significant impact on the standard of living together with our bonds, our debt, it goes up with inflation. Taxes both locally and offshore. Taxes are significant, will reduce your obligation. If you take money out of a business, because you mentioned, yeah, taking money out of the business, why should I do that when I can pay it more tax efficiently in my company? Yes and no, you've got to play the balancing act, like Harry said, because yes, you run expenses through your business, but also taking in your personal name and investing in your personal name is key. It segregates yourself from your business, and that's what you want to do. You never want it all intertwined. You never want to invest in everything in one company. You would rather separate. And then longevity. Unfortunately, or fortunately, people are living longer than back 100 years ago. I've got clients now in their late 90s. They're healthy, well, they're living, have outlived their friends, but that is what's happening now with a good standard of living, with health, looking after your health. You could live till 100. So these are significant impacts on how we look at everyone's personal affairs. Now, inflation, I'm sure you remember this story, what a Corolla cost versus a Corolla today versus a Bucky. I mean, maybe we should have had maybe Porsches or different cars, but it just shows you the power of inflation and how things have evolved. Also, what's important is when you're buying a car, don't buy the most fancy car because you feel you can borrow against it. Pay off the car as quickly as possible, because that debt is not good debt for you. The minute you drive the car outside the garage or the dealership, it's depreciated in value. So never think it's an appreciating asset, unless you're talking antique cars or collectibles. That's a completely separate discussion. But your primary car needs to be modest and should be paid for cash or paid off as quickly as possible. Then we talk about tax. Harry did make a very good point about the UK. There's been a lot of changes in the UK. And from our side, South Africa, yes, has a lot of tax benefits. We might complain that we don't like South Africa. It's not greener on the other side. So from a UK perspective, I'm just tying into Harry's conversation, I've got clients immigrating, calling it a failed immigration, coming back to South Africa. Why? Because the UK change in law is so onerous that they look through all your structures, they attack you for all the taxes, inheritance tax, income and gains tax that you were shielded from in the past. They're going after that. They're coming back to South Africa because it's actually a very nice standard we're accustomed to. But tax itself can be reduced with planning, with structuring, depending on what you're looking for. I mean, you can look at local, there's tax-free options. International, there's an offshore pension that is it's not tax-free, but is domiciled in Guernsey, that falls off your balance sheet. There's so many options. Offshore trust companies. So from each individual around this table, what's important is to understand where you're at and what your strategy and plan is. So I always say to my clients, is your plan to live in South Africa? Is the first question we look at. Because if it's not, we need to also ensure we move money offshore. What is the next step in a business life? Have you saved enough? How it's working? Is it tax efficient for everyone? And that's key. Because from what I've seen, a lot of people are being sold a dream. When it comes down to it, it is not the case. So you need to understand, you need to have somebody aligned with each one of your interests. And that's where we play a role. We only get paid by our clients. So that's just something to think about. So not all these products out there are tax efficient. And then unfortunately, here we go, longevity. So longevity is something we can't control. So you can see people are living longer. Therefore, our work life is actually it's not a long period that we work for. We actually retired longer than we work. So we need to ensure we make the most of what we've created within our business or employment, like a Grace Groner. So you can see how things change and how things are evolving from that perspective. If you were born today, you would have had 1 in 3 chances of living to 100, which is quite scary because we always assume 80 is the cutoff. But you've got another 20 years of living and spending. So we ensure that we can plan for that. So in our cash flow analysis, when we look and assist clients, we say, if you were to live till 95, that's realistic in our plan. 100, still pushing it. 95, we want to make sure you can pay your bills to 95 and beyond. Then how do we create value? So this is a lot of information, but how we create value for our clients is through all these service offerings. Because it's not just about not about investments, it's about the full collective offering. It's about the investment accounts, the family office solution, asset management, because once you've got the right vehicle, the one thing is investments are easy. So you need to ensure that your investments are structured tax efficiently, estate duty benefits. Then we can plug in a solution that will work for each individual that's bespoke. what I want to go into, what is our investment philosophy? So our investment philosophy is it's not governed by emotion. We don't have a fixed matrix. It's not a one-shoe-fits-all solution. It is a bespoke solution based on your plan and your strategy. So if you were to say to me, I'm going to immigrate, we need a plan for that factor. Or I'm going to live in South Africa, but I've got 20 kids and I'm supporting all of those kids. We need to ensure that every solution is bespoke and tailor-made for everyone's requirements. So it is also that we are not, which I've said, not product driven. We are driven by the client's strategy and how to ensure we get consistent good returns. So you can see our investment approach. So it's not about emotion. And same as what Harry said, business, it's good to be emotional in business because you get things done. When the market has a pullback, like Harry pointed out in COVID, if you sold out, you would have realized losses. But if you just waited, and we knew when you needed the money because we used the cash flow analysis to determine timing, we take the right timing risk when it comes to investments. If you needed the money tomorrow, would we have gone into global equities? No, we would have gone into a money market. Global equities or a diversified portfolio offshore or locally, it's all about when you need the money. And that's key because then we invest it for long-term growth and we're not forced to realize any losses or take profit if we don't need to. So that's important. So we're about the power of compounding and looking for good opportunities. We have different ways. We have a full asset management team in Citadel. Our asset management team looks for best fund managers across the globe. So we're looking to understand each one of our clients' needs and looking to find the best fund managers with a good track record that we can invest our clients' money with them. So that's important. Diversification, we do not just want to bet on Apple or Tesla. We want to ensure that we have, yes, developed market equity exposure. Emerging markets, China's becoming cheap. Our view is China's a very good investment now and in the long term, but remember long term, not near future. Long term, you'll get very good growth because you're buying when the market is lower. So that's important. Government bonds, both offshore and local, there's an opportunity to incorporate that in your portfolio. And then what we call gold has been a safe haven asset class. We love gold. We think when the world is uncertain, what does everyone run to? Gold. We also add to the portfolio alternatives. So alternatives are hedge funds. So hedge funds don't care. Good hedge fund managers don't care how markets do. They just deliver consistent real returns. And that's key from our side. So we look at all different opportunities. Problem, or let's say not problem, if somebody has cash now today, ask the question, how do I enter the market? It is very expensive to enter even an ETF, an MSCI World Index. It's very expensive. Should I leave it in a money market in your personal name? No, you'll be 45% taxed on the interest earned. So what do I do with the money? We slowly go into the market. We plan a strategy and we can never time it. But if you don't deploy 100% today and we slowly go in, you will get consistent good returns and it will be planned. There will be no single entry point that we're worried about. So that's important. And if you've got an existing portfolio, some people say, but what about a loss-making company, a loss-making investment? You've got to analyze it. Take the emotion out, analyze it and say, should I still hold on to this loss? Because emotion comes in. I don't want to, bought it for $100. Now it's worth $50. I don't want to sell now. So you'd rather just be wiped out. So these are emotions we take away from you and we understand when, we might not always get it, when to advise you to realize some losses or to wait it out because it's about the timing. Then diversification, like I've said, so we just invest in everything across the globe. South Africa is where your main business is. So why are you investing on the JSE when you've got so much exposure in South Africa? rather have your money offshore and gives you greater exposure to different economies and different company exposures that we're looking for. The UK at the moment is very volatile, but the US, even before the elections, we actually changed our view. We were very much cautious going into this year. However, we actually, before the elections, we upped our global equity exposure. Why? We believe that there is still very good opportunity in certain good companies to grow and give you good returns. So that's what we did before Trump even came in. So diversification is key. And then, like I said, in your wealth creation life, don't diversify. Stick to your knitting. Stick to what you're good at and focus on that. Then, what's the next thing that everyone loses sight of? And I know, let me ask, who has a will, a valid will that was last, but that was last looked over in the last 2 years, let's say. 6 months. Okay, very good. Very good. And also, have you negotiated the executive fees? Is the next question. Because if they're silent, they will take 3.5%, whoever the executor is. So these are things you can do in your lifetime to ensure that your wealth is not eroded by the executor and by, let's call it, the taxman. So that's important. Divorce, we all, you sign an anti-nuptial contract. Like we know, we never think we're going to get divorced. But when it does happen, this is something that we have to ensure your wealth is protected, or that you have created enough wealth that is structured in a manner that could shield you from divorce settlements. We do have options on that side. Death of a partner. So the biggest thing we've seen is a joint will. So joint will, which we have no objection to, but the master always requests the original will. So if you've got a joint will with your spouse and that spouse passes away, and you, as the year, let's even say 3-6 months time, you forget to update your own will and you pass away, even in 18 months time, you're stuck with a big problem because you haven't changed your will and the master's got your original. So, and it could be very problematic from a legal perspective. So separate wills, saying the exact same thing, are very beneficial to individuals. Also, your will, I like 6 months. That's quite. When was the last time you did it before the 6-month period? Oh, that's very good. Okay. So generally, we look at our clients' wills after the budget speech. So every 18 months, we relook at their wills to see, is it still valid and appropriate? Also, jurisdiction specific. What I mean by that, if you own a property in the UK, Mauritius, you need a will in that jurisdiction. Your South African will not cover worldwide physical property. It covers worldwide assets, but not physical property, which is important. Then marital regimes and antenuptial contracts. Those are the things that you need. Whether you love somebody or not, those are the requirements that you want to ensure you have in place from a legal perspective. And then I go back to the point of how did Grace Groner, who was a secretary who had no ties to a community, make so much money? She saved, and she enjoyed the power of compounding. And I'm sure you all know Warren Buffett, and that's his philosophy. Invest your money and just enjoy the power of compounding and don't touch it until potentially you retire. So that is my overview. Is there any questions? Yes. Quick snapshot. Questions? Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to find out, are there any minimum requirements or criteria to becoming a Citadel client, i.e., I know other institutions that you guys said are not,
but there's always either a minimum requirement, either from a net asset value or from a cash perspective.
So the only requirement is you're willing to take advice. We don't discriminate. We just want somebody who is willing to take advice and accept our advice and go on this journey. So we don't have a minimum. We can start off with small and slowly build up. I always say to my clients, I'm not here to take away or uproot relationships. I'm here to ensure that I'm giving you, if there is something better, I'm offering you the better advice. And also, I always say to them, let's play a game, like Harry says. Keep your existing wealth financial advisor, broker. Give me something to manage. Dip your toe in the water with Citadel and see who outperforms. So we play the game because over time you'll see what the service level you experience, because it's not only about investments, it's about the full value that we offer, is completely different to your current provider.
The question from my side is more about case studies. Can you share with us perhaps something that you've achieved that you're proud of in terms of client and securing their wealth?
One thing I'm proud of is that my clients can pay their bills. Or we have a 100% success ratio. Maybe they might, so that's the one thing, because I don't want a client at the age of 75, 80 to have run out of money. That's something that I do think Citadel and myself, I mean, I've got these clients in their 90s that I said, please spend more. So the one thing you'll learn about me and our industry is be honest. If we feel that there is a problem, we will notify you before the problem happens. If we feel that you're going to run out of money at age 80 and you're only 50, yeah? So we will notify you at 50 to let you know you need to cut spending, you need to start saving more. We're looking for problems later on. But what I mainly, if I can give you, I focus on a more international. So my area, like Harry speaks about the UK, I was involved in the UK tax last week with the change in law. So I assist people either immigrating out of South Africa and structuring it properly, or failed immigration coming back to South Africa. We have a lot of bespoke solutions that I help my clients with, but there's so many, every story is different and everyone has a different, let's call it, experience. But Bert, maybe you tell me your experience with us, because you mentioned to everyone, I've never discussed clients, but Bert did mention that he is you know Citadel well. How have you experienced us?
I think there's, well, first of all, I think experience is very positive. I think what I enjoy most is the regular meetings where we discuss the portfolio and what we need to do, what has changed. I think that was extremely helpful. Also, something I didn't get from my first investment. But yes, something else. We have a question here from Facebook or YouTube streaming. So the question here for Jodi is, do they have any investment portfolios which deal with a guarantee on the minimum amount invested, like a capital C investment?
So we structured products, definite. It all depends on what you're looking for. We do due diligence. So if we have an asset manager that has a structured product with 100% protection, we do our own due diligence in-house to make sure that it will protect our clients' money. The one that is now seems to be the flavor is China. So that's why I brought up China. It's very cheap to go into. And there is a structured note that we've done a lot of research on. We don't have it in-house. That gives you 100% protection. And you can only benefit from the upside. So there are.
And then the last part of the question is, do you deal with offshore investment portfolios?
Yes, so offshore, so if I can just give you a bit of a snapshot of offshore, where our focus. So we always had the view of offshore trust companies. We all wanted them. We all wanted them in a tax neutral jurisdiction. I'm not saying tax haven. Tax neutral jurisdiction. We wanted, let's call it a Jersey trust with a BVI company. That was the dream back 20 years ago. The biggest problem with those structures now How do you fund them? That's the first question everyone asks. How am I going to put money into my offshore structure? The question is via a loan. You can. The loan itself, because you're going to lend money to the offshore structure, that loan is going to attract interest. Interest rates have gone up. LIBOR's gone up. You're going to be paying so much money on that loan, that interest on that loan, that it might not be conducive or viable. That loan forms part of your estate. So you've got to ensure that the growth is greater than that loan amount. Then we say, what about a donation? Great, pay 20% now and donate it into the structure. No one's doing that either. So how can we find an alternative solution? So we work with Worksmans from a legal counsel perspective. They are mandated to Citadel. They have, they're part of our, let's call it, fiduciary department. So we said we wanted to find a solution for our clients that was also cost efficient, and we weren't liable for a loan or donation. So we went to the drawing board and we've developed, let's call it, an offshore pension domiciled in Guernsey. What this offshore pension has done, it has given you the flexibility, like the South African pension, you contribute into your pension every month or annually. This offshore pension must be after tax money, which is important. You contribute into the offshore pension. The money, the contribution is not a loan or donation, because at some point you are going to benefit from the pension money, same as South Africa. So you have to reset an age in which that benefit will come to being, be it the maximum age you can take benefit is 75. The minimum is 55. So there are lock-in periods if we look at it, because it's got to be seen like a pension. Inside the pension, what it gives you tax-free roll-up, like a South African pension, estate duty benefit. If you pass away and you've got your money in this offshore pension, state duty benefit, global portability on day one. If you were to immigrate, exit South Africa, this money is not your money. So therefore, there's no exit tax when you leave. The biggest thing that entrepreneurs, that's why you're all sitting around the table, creditor protection. You own your company in your personal name or via shares in your personal name. This gives you creditor protection on day one. So it's a very nice solution for our clients to utilize. So we've got that. Then we've got international endowments, which is another option. But that's taxed inside the wrapper itself. So from an offshore perspective, we've also got you can invest in your personal name. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be investing in your personal name either. So we've got to justify whatever we do, we justify, does this make sense to put it in a structure? Does it make sense to keep it in your personal name? You put it in your personal name, every time we take profit or rebalance the portfolio, we are triggering a CGT event, and you need to be comfortable with that. And our magic, if I can give you our competitive advantage, everyone has a competitive advantage, is we're very proactive with our investment solution. If we are of the view that the market is we're bullish and we want to up your global equity exposure, we sell an asset class and we buy into the market or develop market equities. We also take profit. When the market or your asset class has gone up by 10%, it results in we rebalance your portfolio, take profit, and buy another asset class that's cheaper. So we very much have a proactive approach.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Great to see what can be done and so many options. So please, the team, please, more than welcome to ask Jodi some more questions. So we're going to break for some tea and coffee right now, and we'll be back there by 25.
Thank you. How are you? Nice to see you. Oh, good. Hello, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. How are you? Very